Welcome back to Fashion here. Today I want to talk about young star drivers in the junior categories who I feel have a chance to potentially become F1 stars of the future. So I got 8 drivers here that I've picked, and I think ranked from least likely to most likely in terms of their odds of getting into Formula One as a full-time seat. Talk a little bit about what they're doing this year and how they could potentially get into F1. So if you've been following this channel long enough, I actually did this video 2 years ago, 2023, and I basically did the same thing, 8 drivers who I felt might be able to get into F1 in the near future. In order from most likely to least likely. And so if you haven't watched the video, I'm just going to start off, take a quick look at that list. So that list had Liam Lawson first, Oliver Bearman, Victor Martins, Frederick Vesti, Ayumu Iwasa, Teo Pourchaire, Gabriel Bortoleto, and Kimi Antonelli. Now, of course, of those 8 drivers, 4 of them ended up being in F1 and currently in F1, and 4 of them did not. So again, 50% hit rate last time I did this video 2 years ago, not bad. If you want to watch the video, I'll leave a link up to it above. Now, of course, there were 3 drivers who did eventually get into F1 in that time frame who I did not put on that list. Now, of course, are Franco Colapinto, Jack Doohan, and Isaac Hadjar. So getting basically 4 to the 7 is again shows that there is quite a bit of uncertainty still, even just looking at all the data that we have. And again, there is a little bit of luck. Like for example, I think Colapinto, of those 7 drivers, Colapinto is definitely the least likely, as he had some pretty fortuitous circumstances that led to him getting that F1 shot with Williams, and of course then getting that appearance again this year with Alpine. So let's get started on this list. I think honorable mention, didn't make the cut for this list, but honorable mention to Dino Beganovic, who I guess is having a decent season in Formula 2, but again, I'm not sure where he really fits into the picture. At least in terms of getting it to F1. But the first driver I have on this list is, again, another driver who I think was really going back and forth with Beganovic in terms of who I thought had a better chance. And so number 8 is Tuukka Tappinen, 18 years of age. He's part of the Ferrari Young Driver Academy. This year he's driving in Formula 3, where he's currently 9th. His median pole gap, so his basically kind of a metric for his qualifying results, is 0.576 seconds, which does rank 9th out of the 30 full-time slots on the Formula 3 grid. Now, those results, 9th in both championship standings and in qualifying results, may not seem so special, but he is quite a bit ahead of both of his teammates, his more experienced teammates as well. But that being said, the reason I have him as low as I do in this video is because I do think he's basically number 2, the number 2 kind of driver on the Ferrari Young Driver Academy in terms of the next guy who would be, promoted to F1 from the Ferrari Academy. And so that's going to make things difficult for him. That being said, I still think he's a pretty talented driver. He, of course, won the 2024 Formula Regional Middle East Championship in pretty dominant fashion. Had a pretty decent year in Formula Regional Europe last year. Didn't win, but again, not driving the best car. And this year in an ART, which is good, but not great. I think he's been all right. And I think once you get to Formula 2 with cars, I think a little bit closer, there's not quite a disparity at the top of the grid. I'd be quite interesting to see how he would do in Formula 2, which I think likely possibility for next year. So I don't think this is a guy who's going to get an F1 next year, but 2027 could, or even 2028, I think is a possibility. So number 7 is Luke Browning, 23 years of age, part of the Williams Driver Academy. This year he's driving in Formula 2, where he's currently 5th in the championship in his first year in the series. Median qualifying gap of 0.567 seconds, which ranks 9th, so a little bit above average there. And he does have 2 titles from the lower categories, the 2020 F4 British Championship and the 2022 GB3 Championship. For Browning, I think he's looked pretty good in Formula 2 this year, and again ranks 5th in his first full season, so again he's on the right track. He's part of a driver academy, so that's again another positive That's, obviously really, really important to have in modern Formula One. But I do think one of the things holding him back is his age. He's already 23 years of age. He's quite a bit older than a lot of the drivers he's, racing against. And he did have, funding difficulties before he became a member of the Williams Academy, the Williams system. So that kind of explains part of the reason why, it took him so much longer to get to Formula 2. And that could ultimately hold him back. And again, being part of the Williams system, you have to look at, say, at their team, Albon and Sainz, say realistically, they're probably not going to change their lineup anytime in the next 2 years. So 2027, maybe there's an opening there, but I think 2028 is also a possibility. So for Browning, he just needs to put himself in the right place at the right time. Winning Formula 2 this year would go a long way to helping him secure a potential F1 seat in the future, especially given that he's already 23. So again, he is a little bit on the older side, which is something that I think will hold him back and is part of the reason why I have him a little bit lower down my list. Now, number 6 is Leonardo Fornaroli, 20 years of age, no driver academy affiliation, which is a little bit of a surprise. I do think he's the only driver on this list. Actually, no, there's one more driver on this list without any affiliation whatsoever. 2025, he's in Formula 2. He's currently 4th with a median qualifying gap of 0.415 seconds, which ranks 4th. So very, very good results for Fornaroli. He's doing a pretty good job for himself. And he, of course, won 2024 FIA Formula 3 championship last year in somewhat famous circumstances, given he won on the last corner of the last lap. I think getting that crucial overtake for that championship winning position. And he also won the championship without winning a single race, which shows, very, very impressive consistency, but does suggest that, it does beg some question as to what his ultimate, one lap, not necessarily one lap, but his ultimate ceiling is. So for Fornaroli, he's a really interesting driver. I think, his results look pretty good. He's having a pretty good season this year. But again, the one thing that's really holding him back is the lack of, academy affiliation. But it means that there's not really any natural spot for him to be on the grid. But, assuming that funding's not an issue, it also gives him a really good deal of flexibility. And again, for 2026, I don't think there's really any openings that are likely going to be opening up for Fornaroli. But for 2027, anything's possible. And so if he, has a really solid season, finishes top 3, top 4, could definitely see himself open doors to potentially join an academy and then maybe get a race seat for 2026, or not 2026, for 2027. All right, number 5, I get a bit of a, wild card here, a bit like Antonelli was in my video 2 years ago. And number 5, I have Freddie Slater, 16 years of age, like Fornaroli, not affiliated with any driver academy at this point in time. Currently, he's racing in Formula Regional Europe, basically the best series behind, kind of underneath FIA Formula 3. He currently ranks 2nd, very, very close to the championship leader. So yeah, neck and neck between himself and Evan Gilter there. In quality results, I don't have the exact data, but he does have 4 pole positions out of 10. So pretty good results in qualifying there. And he even had a super sub appearance in Formula 3 earlier this season with the AIX team. Did a very, very good job, which suggests, again, he looks like a really, really strong prospect for the future. He does have 2 titles. I think he has a couple of Ginetta titles as well. But beyond that, he won 2024 F4 UAE, but also won 2024 Italian F4. So pretty good results in both of those series. And again, could potentially win Formula Regional this year. Again, likely step for next year, probably Formula 3. But again, maybe he does what Antonelli did and jumps a whole series and goes directly to Formula 2. We shall see. Again, 16 years of age, so one of the youngest drivers on the single-seater ladder. And again, generally competing against drivers who are a year or two older than him. He looks like a really, really interesting prospect. And again, he's kind of, rumors have been that he's kind of doing what Verstappen did in that, and kind of doing what Fornaroli did, although I think for Fornaroli, I think it was less intentional. But with Slater, he's trying to keep his options open, and he's probably not going to sign for an F1 academy unless it looks like he has a really good chance of getting a Formula seat by joining said academy. So again, could be an interesting option for someone like Red Bull in the future, who I think are a little, whose academy I do think is a little dry. I do have one of their drivers in this video, but again, given that they have those 2 guaranteed seats at Racing Bulls, it could be an interesting option for Slater should he decide that he wants to join an academy. So number 4 is a driver who's not doing any racing this year, but I think there are some potential openings for him, and that is Paul Aron. 21 years of age. He's, of course, part of the Alpine Driver Academy. Last year, driving in Formula 2, his first year in the series, didn't write the rank there. I think he came 4th. I believe I'm going to have to double check that, but I believe it was 4th or 3rd or 4th in his first year of the series. Median qualifying gap 0.198 seconds, which was best in the series, better than drivers like Bortoleto, driver better than Hadjar, for example. And given how Bortoleto and Hadjar are doing this year, suggests that, Aron's a very, very quick driver, especially over 1 lap. Was definitely in the fight for the championship for most of the season, but did falter a little bit towards the end. So for Aron, I think realistically for him, I think he has a realistic shot at the 2026 Alpine seat. I think if Colapinto continues to struggle as much as he is, I do think, perhaps Briatore, whoever's team principal next week, might look at Aron as a pretty realistic option. But that being said, new regulations, usually it's not the best situation to put a rookie in those kinds of environments. We saw 2022 with Zhou struggled quite a bit. And to be honest, quite a few of the drivers like Latifi also struggled quite a bit, and even though he wasn't a rookie there. But there's that kind of degree of unpredictability, which is why teams generally don't like throwing rookies into the first year of a technical regulation, because they can't, the cars don't exist yet, so they can't do any testing with those cars for the rookies. So for Aron, I think the Alpine seat probably his best chance. There has been some connections between himself and Cadillac, but I think realistically, Alpine's his best shot. If he can't get that Alpine shot chance, I don't really see him getting an opening anywhere else unless he leaves the academy, which again is another option. But I think Aron, very talented driver, and I'd really like to see him in F1 sometime in the near future. Now, number 3 is Rafael Camara. 20 years of age, part of the Ferrari Driver Academy, and in my eyes, probably the most likely next driver from the Ferrari junior setup. Currently driving in Formula 3, he's first in the series by a pretty fair margin, and he's absolutely blitzed everyone in qualifying. His median pole gap is 0 seconds, which ranks first. He's taken 4 out of the 7 pole positions, the other 3 coming from Nicolas Solev, but Solev being a third-year driver, Camara being a first-year driver, a big difference in experience there. And last year, 2024, won the Formula Regional European Championship. So again, if he wins Formula Regional and then Formula 3, those are really big, important, boxes to tick. And again, if he wins, we'll be in Formula 2 next year, and we'll be, have a pretty good chance of getting an F1 seat somewhere. For example, should Lewis Hamilton decide to retire at the end of 2026, and should they decide to promote Ollie Behrman, just as a hypothetical, that would leave, a pretty realistic seat open at Haas. Not sure what's going to happen with Cadillac, because of course they're going to also be Ferrari, customer team, but they may not want to take a rookie, or they may want to have their two drivers locked down for their first 2 years. So again, might be hard to find a 2027 seat there. That being said, for Camara, results look really, really good. And I think, a pretty good chance of him getting into F1 in the next 2 years, particularly 2027. Now, number 2 on this list is Alex Dunn, 19 years of age, part of the McLaren Driver Academy, currently driving in Formula 2 this year. He's third in the championship with a median pole gap of 0.269 seconds, which ranks second. In terms of titles, 2022 F4 British title is his only one, but he's been very, very impressive this year. Probably the most impressive rookie in my opinion. He has shown like a lot of that raw kind of speed, but also a lot of that really raw aggression. It's something that we kind of saw in Verstappen when he was younger. And of course, for Dunn, you see these great moves, but you also see, these really kind of dumb crashes, kind of like at Monaco, where he caused like a 10-car pileup on the first lap, first corner to be exact. So for Dunn, I don't really see a realistic shot for him getting a McLaren seat in the next couple of years, just because their drivers are both so good, and they're also both, quite young still. He's probably going to have to go the Bortoleto route of leaving the McLaren Academy to find a seat somewhere else. And again, as long as the results are there, if he wins Formula 2 this year, that could, give him a really big leg up on some of his, competitors for a seat in the near future. Hard to say where he would go if not McLaren. And again, I think Red Bull Racing Bulls might be an option if they feel their program's a little bit too dry. But there's, quite a few other seats as well where, options may arise in the near future. Now, number one, I think most likely driver to make it to Formula One in the near future is Arvid Lindblad, 17 years of age. He is part of the Red Bull Driver Academy. Driving in Formula 2 this year, he is 6th in the championship. Median pole gap 0.398 seconds, which does rank 3rd. So the qualifying results a little bit better than the race results, and he is one of the younger drivers in the series. In terms of championships, the only one he's won is the 2025 Formula Regional Oceania, which is a very low-level series, but nonetheless, he's done pretty well in almost every series he's done. Came 4th in Formula 3 last year as a 16-year-old, did Formula, I think, Italian F4 before that, and I think came 3rd, I believe, in that series. So again, he's kind of really escalated up the ladder very, very quickly. He's a very, very fast driver. And I think for him, most realistic seat is going to be the Racing Bull seat in 2026. I would say almost certainly he's going to be in one of those 2 seats unless his season, really falls off a cliff, somehow. I think with Red Bulls, Racing Bulls, I think of those 4 seats, I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now, especially with what Max Verstappen is going to do. And should Max Verstappen decide to leave, go to Mercedes or go elsewhere, that could cause a massive, amount of turnover within kind of the Red Bull driver system. But even then, even if Max Verstappen stays, likely they're probably going to drop one of Tsunoda or Lawson at the end of the season, and that would probably also give an option for Lindblad to join. Or they could perhaps, promote Hadjar as well, and that would be another way to basically get a seat alongside perhaps Lawson or Tsunoda at Racing Bulls for 2026. So those are my 8 drivers I have in order from, I would say, least likely to most likely in terms of getting an F1 seat over the next couple of years. In terms of 2026, I think Lindblad's really the only one who I think is a realistic possibility. I think Aaron as well, I think, would fall into that camp as well. But for 2027, I think most of these drivers are probably going to have to wait until then in order to have a chance of an F1, a realistic chance of an F1 seat. So there you go. Those are 8 potential stars of the future for F1. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.